All right, good morning, seventh grade. I know I mentioned in the Zoom earlier this week that we were going to be covering a different genre for annotation this week, and I thought it was poetry. It could have been drama, but I thought it was poetry. No, it's drama. We're going to do poetry next week. So today's video is going to be a little longer than the normal, as your other annotation videos have been, because it's actually me taking the time to go through an entire passage and questions and explain everything that I'm marking on that passage. So before we start, I want to remind you about the drama notes that you have. That will be very helpful in case you don't want to use the video when you're doing your actual assignment tomorrow. You can use your notes and the copy of the passage I'm going to give you today with this video. So if you go into the notes section under the important links of the homepage on Canvas, you will see a reading section, and as soon as that box goes away, you will see reading notes, and then you'll see drama. And I'm on the 7th slide here because we don't need to review all the drama notes we ever went over. We're just going to focus on the elements of drama as we annotate today. So remember, your elements of drama: you have your playwright, the person who wrote the play. You have your plot. You guys know all about plot because we actually have done that with your fiction text, your exposition, your rising action, climax, and so forth. That's in a drama as well. You need your characters, okay? And in a play, your characters are obviously your actors and actresses. But then you've got, what kind of characters do we have? We have your protagonist, your main guy. We have your antagonist, the one that's having issues with your main guy. You also have some main characters and some minor characters in a drama. Okay, just because a character is in a story doesn't mean that they're the protagonist or the antagonist. They could just be a main character, like a sidekick, or kind of a villain's friend, so to speak. So you can have major and minor characters, and we're going to go over that as we read through the story as well. You've got dialogue, and in a play, you could have dialogue or monologue. It's whatever the characters are saying. Okay, and you've got parts of the script, which we're going to touch on again. And you've also got scenery, and that's going to be your set, the setting. Where and when does this play take place? Okay, so your notes will go through and explain each of these pieces. Okay, so have these if you need it. We're not going to be referring back to these notes as we go through the passage, just because on one screen it's going to be kind of hard to kind of balance 2 or 3 different windows. But you can definitely use those. I recommend you using those for your assignment. Okay, so if you will, open the link that is attached to the announcement that you just read. The link is titled The Fly. Okay, it is titled The Fly, and I will get that open here. Close that. All right, welcome back. So I'm going to open it. And again, remember, I'm not a techie person. So we're going to try to just kind of wing it and have the annotation done on Cami. I think you guys might be able to see it a little easier. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to notice that I've told you guys exactly what to annotate. Okay, exactly how to annotate it. On your fiction piece, I told you guys, I didn't care what colors you used. It needed to make sense for you. Well, most of you struggled with that. So instead, I'm going to tell you which colors to use. I'm going to tell you what should be what color and how it should be marked. And then we're going to see if you can kind of branch off from there later. But for now, this is what you need to use. Okay? So any of your new vocab words, words you don't know what they are, or words that are underlined already in the story, you need to highlight those in red. Okay? Who's your playwright? Highlight that in orange, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Your plot. Well, you've got a lot of plot. You've got exposition, rising action. You're going to have more than one. You've got a climax, all your falling action, and then you've got your resolution. All of those are going to be highlighted in yellow. That does not mean to highlight the entire passage in yellow. Okay? So follow along and watch how I do it, and then how we label what part of the plot that it is. Okay? Then you have your characters. Okay? Then you have dialogue, your script, and your scenery or set, which I will be showing you how to do that as well. Okay, 1 second. All right, so I'm going to share my screen again with you. All right, so we're also going to note that up at the top here, we needed to be sure to include the plot diagram at the end of the passage. That's what we're going to tie in with our plot that's going to be highlighted in yellow. Okay, so what we're going to do is, before we even start highlighting and color coordinating things, we're going to do a cold read through the passage. Okay, it looks a lot longer than what it is because it is a play. Okay, just because of how it's formatted. So if you look, your characters, you have a boy, a 13-year-old. You have a mother who is a peasant. You have a father who is a peasant. You have a banker who is a wealthy, older man. You have what is called a mandarin. That is a government official. And you have your narrator. The narrator is going to be a person dressed in black, holding a stick with a small plastic fly attached to the end of a wire. Okay? All right. So bear with me as we read through this, okay? Scene 1, narrator, in front of the curtain. Hello, I'd like you to meet the star of our show. Displays the small fly. Yes, he's the star. Let's take a trip to Southeast Asia to a small village in Vietnam where our tale begins with a 13-year-old boy. The narrator steps aside as the curtain rises, revealing the boy kicking a handmade soccer ball in front of the family's humble home. He kicks up dust as he tries to keep the ball in the air. Leaning in, he's playing soccer, one of Vietnam's favorite pastimes. The banker walks toward the boy. Narrator, noticing the banker. Oh, here comes trouble. I'm going to get out of his way. Exits. Banker, dusting off his expensive suit while standing near the boy. Are your parents home? The boy looks up and then continues to kick the ball. No. Banker, annoyed. Well, where are they? The boy ignores the banker. Banker, snatching the ball from the boy. I asked you a question. Maybe you didn't hear me. Where are they? Boy, my father has gone to cut living trees and plant dead ones, and my mother is at the market selling the wind to buy the moon. Banker, appearing flustered. What? That's nonsense. Tell me where they are, or I'll rip your soccer ball to shreds. Boy, I went too far. I told you, my father has gone to cut living trees and plant dead ones, and my mother is at the market selling the wind to buy the moon. Banker, listen, crossing his arms and raising an eyebrow. I came here to collect money your parents owe me. If you tell me where they are, I'll cease collection of their debts. The boy stares in disbelief. Banker, as heaven and earth are my witness, your parents will make no more payments. Heaven and earth cannot talk, so how can they testify in court? I need a living thing to be a witness. The narrator enters, swinging the fly around and making a buzz sound. Banker swats the fly away and smiles. The narrator lands the fly on a nearby bamboo pole. Look, what luck. This fly can be our witness. Now you can tell me. Boy, thinking. A fly is a good enough witness for me. My father has gone to cut down bamboo to make a fence for a man near the river, and my mother, pretending to waver, you promise, right? Banker, yes, yes, I swear in front of this fly. Boy, my mother has gone to the market to sell fans so that she can buy oil for our lamps. Isn't that what you would call selling the wind to buy the moon? Banker, nodding. Ah, yes, very good. Goodbye, clever boy. I will see you again soon. The banker smiles as he tosses the boy's ball to him and exits. The boy enters his home. Scene 2. Narrator stands at the center stage, turning the hands of a large clock he is holding. Our next scene takes place several days later. Turning the hands faster and faster, and then stops. You get the idea. Banker walks toward the house. Narrator, he's back and he doesn't look friendly. Narrator exits as the banker knocks on the door. Mother, oh, hello. Banker, I've come to collect. Mother, please, we just need a little more time. Banker, Your time's up. Mother, please, sir, can't you find it in your heart to give us one more week? Banker laughs. My heart. We're talking about money you owe me. Boy, appearing in the doorway. No, you don't owe him. He promised me he would forget about the debt. Banker, I would never do such a thing. Boy, it's true. He promised. The curtain falls. Scene 3. Narrator. Standing at center stage, the curtain rises, revealing the boy, his mother, his father, and the banker in a small government court. The mandarin is seated before them. The boy's parents know that their son is honest, so they have gone to court to let a mandarin decide what to do. The boy has just finished explaining what happened between him and the banker. Steps aside. Mandarin. Well, we have only your word. How do we know you're telling the truth? You need a witness to confirm your story. Boy. I do have a witness, Your Honor. Mandarin. Who? Boy. A fly. Mandarin. A fly? This is not a place for fantasies, boy. Boy. It's true. A fly landed on the tip of the man's nose. Banker. You lying rat. The fly wasn't on my nose. It was on the bamboo pole. Quickly covers his mouth. Everyone stares at the banker. Mandarin, laughing. Well, I'm glad we sorted that out. You made a promise, sir, and you must keep it. These people don't owe you a thing. The boy, his mother, and his father celebrate as the curtain falls. Narrator, standing in front of the curtain. The moral of our tale? Always tell the truth and never underestimate the power of a fly. Narrator buzzes and pretends to fly across the stage as he exits. Okay. All right. So as I read through that, you'll notice I did read the character names and I did read the stage directions. You wouldn't normally do that if you were reading a play, but because I'm not a voice artist, I can't sound like a boy and a mother and a banker. So I did that so that you could follow along a little easier. Okay. All right. So we read through it. We get the gist of it. So now we are going to go through this and we are going to read part at a time, and we are going to annotate, okay? And annotating, it's not just to do, okay? So your paper should not be colored just to color it, okay? So let's start with the beginning, okay? All right, so scene 1. You know what, let's go piece at a time. Okay, so your scene 1, that is where we are in the story, okay? That is part of our script. If you remember, scenes are like chapters in the play. So we're gonna, oopsies, whoopsies. That is not what I want to do. Mark up. Okay, so scene 1, we're gonna say that's purple. Okay, because that's part of the script. And for some reason, this is not going purple. Oopsies. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so that is part of our script, our scenes, our stage directions are part of our script, okay? So you do not need to do this for the entire play, just for a couple of instances of stage directions to show that you understand what they are. So the narrator, we have in the brackets here, these are your stage directions that are not normally going to be read, but it tells the character what to do, where to be, how to sound maybe. So where's the narrator going to be? He's going to be in front of the curtain, okay? And then he's going to display a small fly, okay? Sometimes you could have an entire paragraph that is nothing but stage direction. That's okay, okay? So I'm not going to be coloring all the stage directions through the entire play, as long as you understand that the stage directions are part of the script. Okay. All right. So let's take a trip to Southeast Asia to a small village in Vietnam where our tale begins with a 13-year-old boy. Well, that's kind of, that tells me where we are, and that tells me who my main person is. So what part is that? What are we in? Okay, that is going to be my plot for my exposition. Okay, so there's that. And then what you can do for my computer people, the ones doing this on a computer. Okay, this is your exposition. Okay, character. What kind of character is this? The 13-year-old boy. Is he the good guy? Is he the bad guy? Is he just a main guy? Or is he just someone we're mentioning in passing? Okay, he is your main guy. So I'm going to go ahead and label him the protagonist. Okay. Okay, and the setting is Vietnam. Okay, that's my exposition. I'm good to go. Okay. Alrighty. And then where do you think we had our main problem? Where was our conflict between our two characters? Okay, we've got our boy, our 13-year-old boy. Who did he have an issue with? Okay, if you remember, he had an issue with the banker who was just getting a little too pushy, maybe? Okay, so when we find the banker, when we are seeing he is going to be trouble, that is going to be part of your, let's see, nope, marking up. Okay. Then the banker is your other character. What kind of character is he? He is going to be our antagonist. Okay. So where do we have their problem? Where's our climax in this story? Okay. Well, if you remember, we had the banker. He was there to collect money, and then he promises not to. So we come down here, he swears not to collect the money. Okay. So that is part of my plot. But what part of my plot is that? Okay. So out here, I'm going to put, that's my climax. Okay. Because again, we're going to need to identify our plot at the end. So if we go ahead and label it all as we go through, it will be easier for us because we have to do all of this. Okay. All right. So we have our climax, we have our exposition. How did the story end? How did the problem get solved? Okay. So if you go down here to the end, how was it solved? The Mandarin made a promise. He said, you made a promise and you must keep it. These people don't owe you a thing. Okay, so that's part of our plot. That's going to be our resolution. They had a problem. The banker promised. And now the Mandarin's going to keep that up. Okay. So I'm going to label that green. Maybe. There we go. Okay, so we have labeled our exposition, we have labeled our climax and our resolution. So while we're on our plot, let's go back and label our rising actions and our falling actions. And remember, I've told you guys before, sometimes it's easier just to label the beginning, middle, and end, and then find your rising and falling actions in between. Okay, so we're going to come back up here. We have our climax on paragraph 21. And our exposition is going to be at the very beginning between paragraphs 1 and 4. So now we need to find the big things, okay? What are the big items that we can't have the story without? Okay, so if we see narrator, oh, here comes trouble. The banker is coming. Okay, so that tells me we're having a little bit of an issue. Okay, so I'm going to label that rising action 1. Banker joins the club. Banker joins the story. Okay, so the banker is coming. Now what's happening? Now I need to somehow tell me what my next big item is. What is the next big event of the story? Okay, and that's going to come down here. And sometimes it can be in more than one paragraph. But I'm going to come down here and I'm just going to say it's between, I would say it's probably paragraph 10, maybe 11. Pretty much they're just having a conversation. Banker's trying to find his mom and dad. Okay. So I'm going to label that rising action 2. And I'm going to say the banker is trying to find the boy's mom and dad. Okay. All right. So does anything else really big happen before that climax? Absolutely. In fact, right here, he says, if you tell me where they are, I'll cease collection on their debts. Okay. That hasn't gotten to his promise yet. That right now is wrapping up their conversation. Okay. So I'm going to label that rising action 3. And that is the banker trying, I would consider that a bribe. Banker is trying to bribe the boy. Okay. All right. So, and then we have our climax. There you go. You've got 3 rising actions. Okay. And normally when you have a smaller passage, you may not have 3 rising actions, but when you have a play, it's more complete because it is a larger story kind of compacted down into a short version. So you can have 3. Okay. So between our climax and our resolution, we're going to have our falling actions that we need to find. Okay. So what happens first? If I tell you the banker promised not to collect any money, what is the next big thing that happens? Okay. Well, if you look, the banker's back. The banker's back at the house. Okay. So we're going to call that our falling action. Banker's back. Okay. All right. If you continue looking, what happens when the banker is coming back? Okay. If you see he is trying to collect money, just needs a little bit more time. Okay. So any of these things, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight a couple of them because it shows their conflict. Okay. And then out to the side here, this is where we have our falling action 2. And that's just where the banker is trying to go straight to the mother. Okay. All right. Do we have anything else? What else happens between the time the banker is talking to the boy's mother and the time the Mandarin says they don't know anything? Well, you have to actually get to the Mandarin. Okay. So it looks like in falling act, for our third falling action, we're going to actually have to have a situation with the Mandarin. Okay. The Mandarin is down here. He says you need a witness to confirm your story. Okay. And then the boy says, but I have a witness, Your Honor. Okay. Okay. And now to the side here, this is going to be our rising action 3. Okay. This is where the boy is going to think of a way to have a witness against the banker. Okay. So I have a witness, and then the Mandarin at the end says, you don't know anything. So do I have anything else that happens? I certainly do. Okay. I've got one more thing that I need to talk about. Okay. The banker. Okay. When the boy is saying the fly landed on the nose, and then the boy is saying this, the boy landed on my pole, not on my nose. Okay. That is going to be my falling action 3. That is catching the banker in a lie. Okay. Oops, and that wasn't 3. I'm sorry, that was 4. Falling action 4. Okay. So I've got my exposition, rising action 1, rising action 2, rising action 3, a climax. Then I have my falling action 1, my falling action 2, my falling action 3, my falling action 4, and my resolution. Okay, that's my plot. That's all I need for the plot. Okay. All right. So let's go back and see where else we need. Our characters. We need to color our characters. Okay. No, I don't just want you to color, oh, there's boy. Let's highlight that green. No, because you actually have to tell me what kind of character he is. Okay. So if you will notice here, we actually did label the character as the protagonist. He is our 13-year-old boy. Okay. So mark up with green. Okay. And then make sure out to the side, you actually say he is the protagonist. Okay. Let's see, who was our banker? Our banker is joining the story, and we have identified the banker as well as our antagonist. Okay. So banker, text box, go away. Okay. Who else do we have in this story? Okay. Who else has a role that we see? Okay. So we had the boy, the mother. Is the mother a major character, or is she a minor character? Okay. If you go down here to where we have the mother, she's going to be here where we see the mother. But what kind of character is she? Yes, you need to take the time. You need to identify what kind of character she is. She doesn't have a really big role, so I'm going to label her a minor character. Okay. All right, then you have the father. Did the father ever speak? Not that I saw. Okay, so we're not going to need to take the second to label him yet. The Mandarin, down here, he is our government official. Could we have the story without the Mandarin? No, we couldn't, because the Mandarin's the one that gets us to our resolution. So we need him, but is he our protagonist? No. So he is really just going to be one of our main characters. Okay. And then the narrator is always going to be a main character in all of your dramas, always. There's no doubt about it. The narrator is going to be pretty big, because without the narrator, you don't know what's going on. Okay. So I'm going to put that out to the side here. If I can spell today. Okay. Any questions on that? No? All right. So then we have our dialogue. And remember, in a play, we could have dialogue or monologue. It's anything where the characters are talking to each other. Okay, again, not the narrator. Dialogue, we don't care about the narrator when we're talking about dialogue. Okay, so when we come down here, we start having dialogue when we have our boy talking to the banker back and forth. Okay, and let me undo that and make that blue so we can color coordinate a little bit. Okay, that is dialogue. The boy is talking to the banker. Okay, we can have stage directions in the dialogue, but again, we're not going to have the narrator be part of it. Okay, so if you come down here again, this is just on a different page, but that's okay. I still broke it up for you. The boy is still just talking to the banker. The boy is still talking to the banker, still talking to the banker, still talking to the banker. Very chatty with the banker. Okay, on to scene 2. Again, we don't need the narrator. Here, we're seeing the mother talking to the banker. Okay, the mother is talking to the banker. And then we also have the boy talking to the banker there. Okay. In scene 3, what dialogue do we have? Okay, again, I don't need to know what the narrator is saying. That is not part of my dialogue. That is not a conversation with anyone. No one is speaking to or with the narrator. Okay. But the Mandarin is talking to the boy. And the Mandarin is also talking to the banker. Okay. So I'm going to label this as my dialogue as well. Okay. All right. All right, for our script, we already did that. We did that at the very beginning because that was the first word we saw. For your script, you only need to label the scenes if you have different acts, which you didn't in this one. So scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, your stage directions, which again, remember, you did not need to color every single stage direction. You could if you wanted to, but you did not need to, okay? You do not need to highlight every single scene. Okay, just enough to show me that you understand what it is. Okay, all right. Then if we look at scenery and set, okay, first off, where are we? We're in a small village, okay, in Vietnam. Okay, we're at the boy's home. You know what? I don't want that. I'm just going to underline because it's already highlighted for me. Okay, family's humble home. That tells me that's where we are. Okay. What else is part of our scenery and set? Okay. You've also got props that you need to include. Props are going to be the small movable items that are part of the play that make it real. Okay, so we have a handmade soccer ball would be a prop. Okay, so out to the side here, I'm going to be sure to label prop again if I can spell today. Okay, and over here I'm going to put the location because that was the boy's home. Okay, do we have any other sets that we should be concerned about? Well, if we come down here, we certainly do have another set. Okay. They have gone to court. Okay. So we're in court now. We're not at the boy's home anymore. Okay. This is a pretty simple play in that there's only one, maybe two major locations. Okay. All right. Let's go back up. We skipped over the new vocabulary for a reason because I wanted to read through it first and see if anything popped out at us as unknown. So as we go through, as we went through this play, remember anything that is already underlined for you, you need to define. Take the second and define it. Okay, so that one's going to be red. He was appearing flustered. Okay, what does flustered mean? Okay, you do not need to get a dictionary out. Try to use context clues if you can. He appeared flustered. Then he said, what? That's nonsense. Tell me where they are or I'll rip your soccer ball to shreds. So he's upset, maybe, angered. Okay, possibly. It could be wrong. That's just an idea. Okay. And then if you will come down here, let's see. If you tell me where they are, I'll cease collection on their debts. What does cease mean? I ask that because you might not know. Okay? What does it mean, cease collection? The boy stares in disbelief. So maybe it might mean stop. Okay. Again, we're not sure, but it just might. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. Let's see. All right. Let's see here. We also had waiver is underlined. Okay. That's already given to us, already marked. So that means we may not know what that means. So we're going to highlight it and we're going to figure out what it means. Okay. So a fly is a good enough witness for me. My father has gone to cut down bamboo to make a fence for a man near the river, and my mother pretending to waver. So what does that mean exactly? Okay, that's where we're going to have to use some of our context clues to see if we can't figure out what that word means. Okay, so what do you think? Hesitate, pause for a moment, pause, maybe hesitate. Okay. If there are any words in here other than these that you don't know what they mean, take a second, look them up. Okay. Put it in here. Okay. All right. Let's go back up here. We haven't identified the playwright. Who wrote this play? It doesn't say who actually wrote it, but it does say it was adapted from a Vietnamese folk tale. So that's where the play came from. So I'm going to go ahead and make that orange. Okay. All right. And one thing I want you guys to be thinking about, if we go down here to our climax, climax is another word for conflict, right? Okay. In a play, you have different types of conflict. What kind of conflict is going on here? Okay. Is it internal or external? Okay. This character is going through an external conflict, man versus man. If you guys remember the different types of conflict, man versus nature, man versus self. Okay. And it is the boy versus the banker. Okay. So make sure that you tell me what type of conflict it is also. Okay. All right. So we're done with that part. And now we're going to come down here. Okay. And you can probably do it right in here. For the plot diagram, you do not have to actually draw out the diagram unless you're in class. If you're on the computer, you can just type it out just like you did with Pavel's Journey and Smiles to Go. Okay. So exposition, rising action 1, rising action 2. There were 3 rising actions. Climax, falling action 1, falling action 2, falling action 3. Again, I'm just having trouble typing today, but that's okay. Falling action 4, and resolution. Okay. All right. So what was the exposition? Well, if we go back in the story, we actually labeled exposition up here and right there. We have our 13-year-old boy in Vietnam. Okay. You don't need to label the antagonist in the exposition unless you have it straight away, which we don't. Okay. So we just know it's a 13-year-old boy in Vietnam. That's all we know. That's all we need to know right now. Okay. What are my rising actions? Okay. So I'm going to go back up here to where remember I put the rising actions in blue just so I could find it easier. Okay. The banker joins the story. The banker's trying to find the boy's mom and dad. And then the banker tried to bribe the boy. Okay. Those are my 3 rising actions. Okay. Okay. Banker tries to find the boy's parents. And then the banker tries to bribe the boy for information. Okay. What was the major climax? Okay, so we're going to go back to where we labeled the climax. Oh, right there. I remember I put it in the red. Okay, climax. That's where the banker is swearing to forgive the debt. Okay, so back down here. Okay. Then I have my falling actions. Where are my falling actions? I put those in purple. You could have them in black if you don't want to do the coloring, that's fine. I just had that because I knew I was going to need to find it. So my falling action, banker's back. The banker then tries to get the money straight from the mother. So the banker comes back to the house. Banker tries to get the money straight from the mom. Okay, and my third falling action, if you remember, we highlighted up here. That was when the Mandarin tells the boy he needs a witness. They realize there's a witness to that promise that the banker made. So I'm going to say the Mandarin discovers that there is a witness. Okay, and what is my fourth falling action? That is going to be where we caught the banker in a lie. Did he mean to make that admission? No. So I'm going to say he accidentally admits to the conversation he had for giving the debt. Okay, and the resolution. If we see it here, Mandarin. That is when the Mandarin said you made a promise. People don't owe you anything. So I'm going to say the Mandarin declares that the debt is forgiven. Okay. All right. So you should have that done on your sample passage now. So now we're going to go into our questions. Okay. This is where a lot of people lost some points. So I hope everyone is paying attention. What does the word flustered mean in paragraph 12? This is question 43. So I'm going to go back up to paragraph 12 where we defined what flustered was. Right there. And I'm going to put a text box. Okay, that is question 43. What did we say flustered meant? Upset or angered. Okay. Irritated, greedy, suspicious, and sly. Which of those words means upset or angered? Okay, that would be A. Okay. And yes, even though it says in the question where that answer is, you need to tell me again where you found that answer. Okay, because even though it says that how is the word used in this paragraph, you may need to look at a different paragraph to find evidence for that answer. Okay, so yes, you need to, every single question needs to have where you found that answer, and in the passage, you need to have every single question labeled in that passage. Okay. All right, in scene 1, the dialogue between the boy and the banker reveals that the boy what? Okay. Okay, does he not understand why the banker is visiting? Do you think the boy understands that the banker wants money? Does he enjoy talking to the banker? Is he refusing to respond to the questions, or does he not feel threatened by the banker? Go back to scene 1. Okay. And here we have the boy ignores the banker. Hang on.
Okay, so here the boy ignores the banker. Okay, that's telling me
That he's not at all threatened.
okay, so I'm actually going to label that for question 44. But then if you come down a little bit, he said, I told you, my father has gone to cut living trees and plant dead ones, and my mother is at the market selling the wind to buy the moon. Is he at all concerned about the banker? Is he threatened at all? Not a bit. So I'm actually going to underline this as well. Okay. And then I need to actually tell you what that answer is for. It's okay to have more than one part of the passage answer a question. Okay, so we said paragraph 9 and 13 answered question 44. Okay. So I'm just going to put paragraph 9 and 13. And what was my answer? He didn't feel threatened by the banker. Okay. Number 45, read the following line from scene 3 of the play. Narrator, the boy's parents know that their son is honest, so they have gone to court to let a mandarin decide what to do. Okay. What is ironic about the parents' belief that their son is honest? Well, guys, before I can answer that question, I need to know what the word ironic means. And we've talked about it before. But just we could have forgotten. Okay. It happens. So I'm going to highlight ironic, and then I'm actually going to tell you what ironic means. Something having the opposite meaning, if you remember it. Having, I can spell. Okay, opposite meaning of what is meant. Okay, so what is ironic about the boy's parents knowing that their son is honest? Okay, that's what we're going to try to find out. Did the boy realize that the witness is unable to talk about the agreement? Did the boy not want to reveal the banker when where his parents are? Did the boy explain that the banker said he would not collect the money he owed? Or did the boy lie in court in order to get the banker to tell the truth? Which is the opposite of knowing that their son is honest? If you're honest, what's the opposite? Telling a lie. Well, do we have the boy lying in court? Let's go back up to scene 3 where the boy might lie. Okay. All right. He is right here where, no, shape, you lying rat. Okay. Fly landed on the tip of the man's nose. That's a lie. That is paragraph 45 and 46. Okay. And what was the question number that we're on? 45. Okay. So text box. Question 45. Okay. So if you come down here, 45 and 46 tells me the answer. And the answer was the boy lies in court. So he lied in court even though his parents know he's honest. Okay. All right, number 46. The playwright uses the stage directions at the end of scene 1 to hint that what? Well, I don't remember what the stage directions are from scene 1. The banker smiles as he tosses the boy's ball to him and exits. The boy enters his home. Okay. The banker smiles as he tosses the boy's ball. Okay. What does that mean? First, that is going to be for question 46. Okay. The banker cannot be trusted. The boy is tired of playing. The witness is not reliable, or the boy's parents will be home soon. Okay. When the banker is smiling and the boy goes inside, that is telling me after that conversation that they had, the banker cannot be trusted. Okay. And you have to infer a little bit. Was that a smile like he's smiling for a camera, or was he smiling like I got away with something? Okay. So what paragraph was that in? That was paragraph 24. Okay. All right. Question 47. In paragraph 20, the word waiver means what? Well, we defined waiver, didn't we? So let's go back to paragraph 20. Okay, we're on question 47. Waiver, okay, means to pause or hesitate. Okay, that's what we said it meant. Let's see if that's an option. Let's see if one of those words is an answer choice that we can take. Okay. Tease, be happy, hesitate, or be humble. Okay, hesitate. See, if you annotate as you go through, your questions almost answer themselves. Okay, it's in paragraph 20. That's all I got to do. Number 48. In paragraph 30, paragraph 30 is important to the play because it shows that the banker, what? Does he often forget about agreements he made? Does he have no intention of forgiving the family's debt? Is he still upset about the boy's responses to his question? Or does he have an important job in the village? Well, let's go back to paragraph 30. Paragraph 30, I've come to collect. He is not mentioning that he talked to the boy. He is not introducing himself to the mom. He is just saying, I have come to collect, even though he has already promised to forgive it. Okay. So this is question 48. Okay. Let's go down here. Did he forget about the agreement? I don't think he forgot. Did he really have no intention of ever forgiving the debt? Probably. Is he still upset? He didn't sound upset. That he didn't have any body language showing he was upset. And is a banker an important job in the village? We don't know. Okay. So I'm going to just go ahead and put paragraph 30. And it would be G. He never had any intention of forgiving that debt. He simply made that promise to find out where the parents were. Okay. Number 49. Which of the following lines does the playwright include to show that the boy is clever? Okay. This one might be tricky for you because you have to think what might make the boy clever. Okay. My mother has gone to the market to sell fans so that she can buy oil for our lamps. Isn't that what you would call selling the wind to buy the moon? B, it's true, he promised. C, I do have a witness, Your Honor. Or D, no, you don't owe him. He promised me he would forget about the debt. Okay. Which of those shows that we're clever to get out of a situation or to get something we want? Okay. So if we go back to the beginning of the story, where we have when he is explaining that his father went to go cut down the trees. Okay. That is him avoiding telling the banker where the parents really are. Okay. And that's kind of a smart answer. Okay. That's kind of just avoiding the answer by being, trying to just give a smart answer is what he's trying to do. Okay. So for that, we're going to say that is question 49. And that's just him being clever. It's him having a smart answer to avoid answering the question that was asked. Okay. So is that an answer choice for me? It is right there, option A. Okay. And that was paragraph 11. Okay. All right, last question, number 50. Read the lines from paragraph 5. Narrator, noticing the banker. Oh, here comes trouble. I'm going to get out of his way. Exits. The playwright includes these lines to suggest what? Do other characters feel have a negative view of the banker? The narrator is cowardly. The banker and the boy will disagree, or the banker is in a rush. Okay. If we go back to paragraph 5 at the very beginning, when we have the banker walks towards the boy, noticing the banker, oh, here comes trouble. I'm going to get out of his way. Is the banker in a rush? Not at all. We don't. The banker's just walking leisurely. If he were in a rush, he would be jogging, running, sprinting, even speed walking. So he's obviously not in a rush. Okay. Do we know that the banker and the boy are going to disagree just because the banker is coming to the house? Not yet. At this point, the banker could be coming to return a lost pocket change. I mean, we never know. Okay. Is the narrator cowardly? Okay. Does it say the narrator is cowardly? Is he acting like it? Or is he just admitting, hey, there's trouble. I'm going to get out of here. Okay. Is the narrator a character? Well, go all the way up here. Characters. Yep. Narrator. He's a character. Okay. Does the narrator have a negative view of the banker? Is the banker going to be a bad part of the story? Absolutely. Okay. So what we're going to do is we are going to, where is it? And I'm going to actually go ahead and just underline narrator to show me that he is a character. Okay. And that is question 50. Okay. So down here, come down here to 50. Paragraph 5 gave me my answer, okay? And the other characters had a negative view of the banker, okay? Here's the deal. That took almost an exact hour because we took the time and I explained everything I was highlighting, everything I was writing down. When you're doing this on your own, it should take you 40, maybe 45 minutes. It could take you longer, which is okay. Bottom line, this should not be a 5-minute assignment, okay? So use your example, use your copy of The Fly, okay, and go away, okay. If you will use your copy of The Fly, your assignment is going to be to read A Hard Rain and answer these questions, okay. There are just a few questions. Make sure that you give me text evidence. Okay, within the passage, I should see where you found your answers, okay? So as you go through this, make sure that your copy of A Hard Rain looks an awful lot like my copy of The Fly, okay? You can use the video. You should have a copy of The Fly that you completed as you watch the video. And guys, this is due. You have you've got plenty of time to get this done, okay? So take your time. If you have any questions, send me an email, give a call, or you can come to the Zoom meeting this afternoon, okay? But I know you guys can do this if you just take your time and take it step by step, okay? Have a good afternoon.